at some point, a year or two ago, I began the discipline of practicing scales in thirds. And just to demonstrate what that sounds like. That was the key of C. And I began to do this in all of the keys. And I started to come up with some observations about the interval of the third. Then I started a process of creating a couple harmonica courses that involved going through songbooks, where I was playing a lot of melodies on the harmonica. And I began to notice that this interval of a third, coupled with the discipline of me working on reading music on the harmonica, I began to notice idiosyncrasies, and I began to notice how important the interval was. And eventually I wrote down 12 points, and I put it away for about a year. And then I said, what am I going to do with these 12 points? It was 12 observations regarding playing scales in thirds on the chromatic harmonica. And I eventually fleshed out the outline, and I created a blog post. Then I decided to make a YouTube video out of it. But the video became so cumbersome and so long, like it took me such a long time to go down through all those points. So I'm going to do this again, but I'm not looking at the points today, but I'm going to kind of get right to the important stuff. First of all, if you're playing scales in thirds on the chromatic harmonica and you're doing it in all the keys, at some point you're going to encounter every major and every minor third on the instrument. So that's 12 tones times 2, because we're doing major and minor. That's 24 different intervals. And as you do this, you'll eventually learn that some of these third intervals have some idiosyncrasies, but a lot of them are what I call easy thirds. So in the key of C, and by the way, this rubber pad doesn't mean anything. This was a sticky rubber pad, and I just found it on the table, and I stuck it on here. I thought maybe I could sell these as some kind of like resonating device. It could fake everybody out, but I'm not going to do that. So in the key of C, we have easy thirds because we have like just blow notes, adjacent holes, blow and draw notes, adjacent holes. So that's just holes 1 and 2 blow. 2 holes, back and forth, and then do it on the draw, and then move up to holes 2 and 3, blow and draw. Anytime there's 2 adjacent holes that are the same breath direction, those are easy thirds. I'm going to give you another example in kind of a surprising key. We're in F sharp. Now the descending version. Easy thirds. Because the slide stays in the same position, and then you have 2 adjacent holes, the same breath direction. So that's kind of interesting. You might think F sharp, that's a challenging key. But it's good to know where those easy thirds are. Then you have to learn the idiosyncrasies of the other major and minor thirds, which can be awkward. The best place for me to demonstrate this might be the key of E flat. So here we start right out of the gate with an awkward. This is the most awkward because we've got we are changing breath direction, slide position, and skipping a hole, E flat to G. But even with all that, it's not that challenging. You just have to know that that's how you play the major third. And then we got an easy third here. And then we have an idiosyncrasy here where to get this next interval of a minor third, we stay on the same hole, G to B flat. Let's talk about this one, B flat to D. You have to skip a hole to play B flat to D. But then it's helpful to know that's an easy third. That's an easy third. So that's it. Playing a major scale in thirds is going to be a combination of major and minor thirds, 3 major thirds and 4 minor thirds. And identify where the easy thirds are, learn the idiosyncrasies of the other thirds. It's really going to help your chromatic harmonica technique. I would say to learn the major scales sequentially in a scale-wise motion first, then attempt the scales in thirds. Another interesting point that came up was that for the notes C and C sharp, there are cases where I will use the alternate blow notes because we have 2 C's next to each other, hold 4 and 5. Push the slide in, we got 2 C sharps next to each other. So in the key of C, I will use both of those options in the same exercise. So that's hole 4C. And that's hole 5C. I'll use both. Then the key of D, I will use what I call the lower C sharp, hole 4, and the upper C sharp, hole 5. So that's hole 4. That's hole 5. So those are just a few of the thoughts. If you want to read the blog post, it's a little bit long-winded. I just have a lot of thoughts about things, and sometimes it takes me some time to get it out. But I did have a little constructive criticism that my lectures can get a little long. So hopefully this one's good. It's under 8 minutes.